of you are well aware of this beautiful mushroom, but some of you may not be as familiar. Maybe you're a little bit curious about it. I feel like my role here as a biologist is just to bring up the misconceptions, break some stereotypes, and talk about the science that is really underlying why this mushroom is so powerful. That is why I am here in Jamaica. The reason we're in Jamaica right now is because of, well, shall I say, a historical miscategorization. You see, the term magic mushrooms was introduced in 1957 by hobby mycologist R. Gordon Wasson, the first Westerner to participate in indigenous mushroom ceremonies in Mexico and then tell the story back to the West. Chemist Albert Hofmann discovered that these mushrooms contain the active ingredients psilocybin and psilocin. These compounds are found in nearly 200 species of mushrooms, most in the genera Psilocybe, in addition to a few related genera. But for some difficult to understand reason, which I'll touch on later, their legal use was only just over a decade. Magic mushrooms were made illegal in most of the world in 1970. But not Jamaica. So here we can talk freely about it. Now, for those of you who don't know my background, I'm a biologist by training. I've been studying psychoactive plants and fungi and ethnobotany since I was in grad school 20 years ago. But I'm probably not your stereotypical champion of mushrooms. I don't wear tie-dye, I don't have colored hair, I don't even have cool glasses. I actually grew up in the South. I'm a scientist through and through, but also do a lot within my church, and I love to explore Judeo-Christian archaeology. Definitely Moses passed through this area, right? I was 40 years old before I ever tried a psychoactive drug other than alcohol. I didn't even drink coffee. At my core, I'm an athlete. I focus on what I can do to live my best, most productive life. But around the time I hit 40, I started seeing the manifestation of a mental health crisis happening all around me. Now, I've probably only had just a few glimpses of what it might be like personally. I don't have depression. Yet it appeared so prominently in the others around me. In fact, I would say 75% of the people I know via filmmaking and the arts and music suffered from depression, anxiety, PTSD, traumas. And this mental health struggle even took the life of people very close to me. And while I understand that having good mental and physical health is in large part about a lifetime of setting yourself up for success, making decisions, and it's just really hard work, the idea that there is a mushroom out there that has been used culturally for millennia that seems to be better at addressing some of these things than our modern pharmaceuticals, that is fascinating. Could it help the world, and for that matter, me? I'm here in Jamaica to see my first psilocybin-containing mushroom, Psilocybe cubensis. It's commonly referred to as the golden cap. Irene is our therapist, helping guide us through this journey. She has years and years of experience.
You want to get help, so try with a low dose, with the right settings, right facilitators, therapists, and you'll be fine, you'll be safe.
All the decisions about this therapy is based on her judgment about certified clinical trials being done in the US. And they're done with that level of expertise and that level of safety here in a safe setting.
And one thing that is really important to note is that this compound is extremely safe.
They're non-toxic, there's no LD50, which means there's no lethal dose for taking psilocybin.
This is an important point, and I want to elaborate on this. So let's compare it to something we all know of, alcohol. One glass, about this much, might make you buzzed, but 10 times that, which is like 2.5 bottles here, that will kill you. That is the lethal dose. That means the lethal dose to effective dose of alcohol is 10. Now you can visualize that like this. Here's alcohol with a value of 10. Now let's compare other drugs to alcohol. You have heroin, datura, and nutmeg, which are actually more lethal. That means they have a value of less than 10. Now, less lethal, according to this ratio, is cocaine, ecstasy, codeine, ketamine, kava kava, and then almost off the chart is psilocybin at over 1,000. That means it's almost impossibly high for a lethal dose. So that's good. That means it's actually fairly safe. Now here's one more way to visualize these drugs. I can plot this ratio versus the dependency potential. You have low, moderate, high, and I put another one very high. So drugs with a very low lethal dose to effective dose, like we talked about down here in this region, those can be very dangerous drugs. And then combine that with the fact that if you have a high dependency potential, they're very addictive. So up here at the top, you have heroin, morphine. Not too far off, you have nicotine, which is very highly addictive. You also have cocaine, alcohol, and MDMA. And caffeine, which I know a lot of us are dependent on. Then you have ketamine, and then way to the other end here, you have psilocybin. It is basically the opposite of an addictive drug. Oddly, this data seems to be the proof needed to take it off Schedule 1 drug status, which states that there is a high potential for abuse and no currently accepted medical use. The FDA has noticed the science too, and in 2019 designated psilocybin a breakthrough therapy for severe depression. And that is what I want to investigate more, because let's just say there's a lot of science that seems to indicate that it is potentially very valuable. Now I decided my plan for the session was to just observe things, not document too much. I took notes in my notebook, but promised everyone else I wouldn't be filming their experience. After I handed my camera off to start this process, I put on my eye shades and my headphones. I went into a deep meditation. I'm going to try to describe better what it was like in the next video, but I will say for now, I understand why people create stock video clips just like this. It was intense, and honestly it was more of a feeling than a visual experience. Occasionally the others in the room would come over, put a hand on mine, let me know I was okay. A couple hours in, I thought the journey was over, so I walked outside. And this, oddly, is where the real magic happened, and truly amazing conversations and insight ensued.
I went through what felt like an exorcism with Irene, who is a saint.
I don't think a lot of people have experienced it this way. It's special.
Very rewarding.
It was hard, and things come up that haven't been dealt with in a long time. But I feel like it was 1,000 years of therapy in 8 hours.
And what blew my mind is that when the mushrooms were taken in this way, it seemed that most people had a very powerful experience and then stated a pretty admirable takeaway.
And so it's given me a direction for how to go home and be a better dad, which is incredible. I was here really worried about being away from my family and my kids, and it's given me some relief that there was a big purpose to this.
I just want to be a good dad. I'm trying my best.
These powerful revelations, which seem obvious, are sticky too. Johns Hopkins researchers found that people trying to stop smoking had an 80% success rate after 6 months with use of psilocybin. Compare that to only 35% with those taking the leading smoking cessation drug. It's also helping people get over anxiety, depression, traumas, and end-of-life fears.
And it helps people make the changes they want to make. That's cool.
And I still don't know how to explain what's happening.
This is a medicine for healing. Really meets you where you are. Allows you to receive what you're ready for. This is ancient wisdom, ancient knowledge and access that we have when we can move beyond just thinking about it as a drug. Calls in the curious souls, ones who have tried everything, right? And it's available in here for whoever and whenever you want to explore.
And that's it. We're done.
Now it's clear that this mushroom isn't this bad thing that people have portrayed it as. While we're still understanding how it works, we know it can help a lot of people if used in the right way. So here I am at the integration bonfire, writing down with everyone else the things I want to move past, and then tossing it in the fire. Now I'm not sure how I created such a bond in 3 days with the people here, but I think we all share a vision for a brighter future. I hope more people can experience this. So how now could I not want to share this, the science and this experience with others? Because I do think if people opened up to this and explored their mind in this way, it really would make the world a better, more loving place for all of us.